Welcome, everyone. We are the Uneducated Gamers podcast, and today is our season finale for the 2022 podcast season. And it's crazy. Like, it's hard to believe we're at the end of the year. And we're going to talk about our top release of 2022, kind of some, favorites of this past year, and kind of what are some of the key cornerstones that we're looking for in 2023, not just in video games, but overall from the game industry. We will also give you some of our most uneducated thoughts, as we always do. But before that, Mike, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'd be much better if it didn't take me forever to get through that intro.
I need to take another take on that. Boy.
Oh man, but 2022, man, it's winding down. It's hard to believe that that kind of we've made it to the end, almost. Like, how do you feel about that? It's like, did this year breeze through as quickly as I feel it did?
Man, every year I get older, it breezes through faster.
I mean, that's fair. We've talked a lot about different things this year. You joined the podcast this year, which was amazing, and I'm very grateful for you joining us. I think it's you've certainly have added a dimension that was missing from this podcast, which was something I was excited for. Unfortunately, then we lost Joe at the end of this year. But I think overall, as far as from a content perspective, I just want to say that first, appreciate all the listeners that we've sort of gained this year. I think we're approaching almost 300 downloads, which I never really have thought we could have got only in 1 year to the point where we're doing close to 300 downloads in a year. So that's exciting. So
that's fantastic.
I just wanted to say, I want to recognize and appreciate your contribution and help in growing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love being here.
Well, I love you being here too. And I'm looking forward to a great 2023. In fact, before we really get started, this is going to be our last episode of 2022, because I just, for this year, I don't think there's much else to really talk about, because, a lot of the games that are coming out, we will talk about in January, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of January, January will start a new season for us, and we're going to kick off the year with a new version of the show. We're not replacing this. We're going to continue to record podcasts and release them as we do throughout the year. But we are going to do a quarterly live cast, and we're going to kick that off with January being our first live cast for the first episode of 2023.
Now you can all see my ugly face. You know what I look like.
And your food background.
And my yes. Do we have an audience poll of what this guy looks like?
I mean, wait, but I mean, I think we have a link to your Twitch. You still stream, right?
Well, I haven't streamed pretty much since I moved. We bought a house this year, and that threw my whole schedule out of whack, and I kind of haven't streamed since then. But yeah, I guess if there's any overlap between my audience and this show, which my audience is like 6 people, including 2 people from this household, like I don't think that there's going to be any overlap there for people to find me. I'm way too small.
Well, we got to change that. We got to change that in 2023, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to 2023. We have a lot more coming in 2023. We're looking to revamp a lot of different things. There might also be, for folks who go check out our website. I've started to transition our thumbnails to be more graphical, and we're really going to kind of expand in 2023 some of the things we're doing, including we're going to we have set up a Patreon, but we haven't started promoting it yet. But the whole idea is in 2023, we want to blow this thing up, I think, or something.
Yes, tank our careers, blow it up.
Something like that. But anyways, those fun announcements out of the way. Let's go ahead and get to the core of today's content, and really let's focus on kind of 2022 was met with a tremendous amount of releases. This was the next gen year, in my opinion. And I don't know if you agree, but like, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, but like, I feel like 2022 was the beginning of the next gen era of games, meaning game releases. And so it was met with some turbulence. It was met with some great praise in some areas. But ultimately, I think it was a great year in gaming.
You know what I played this year?
What?
You're calling this year the next gen year. I'm sitting over here. What did I play this year? I played Pokemon Yellow, Shining Force.
What was that game what was that game that we played with Joe? Like Dick in the Box, or what was it?
Oh, Genital Jousting.
Genital Jousting.
That was fun for 10 minutes. we pulled my buddy Justin in for that. And my wife.
But I mean, ultimately though, like there was a lot of great releases in 2022. I think most of them were near second quarter and third quarter, right? Like the front half of the year, it was a lot of indie stuff.
There was a lot of indie games this year, and there was a lot more announced coming out. That I was really impressed with. Yeah,
I would agree. So with that, I kind of want to start us off, and not to put you on the spot, Mike, but I'm going to start with you because I've already talked a ton as we've started this. But what is kind of your top 2022, like a game that released in 2022 that you played, that you just really enjoyed and was something that you were like, yeah, this kind of put a stamp on 2022 for me for like games that came out this year?
Well, Elden Ring for one. I love Elden Ring. I've gushed about Elden Ring several times. I don't think I need to gush about it again, but I just keep jamming that. I'm not the kind of person who will easily be able to sit down and actually finish the game. I just don't have that kind of time window to play. But that game will keep me occupied for a decade. Absolutely.
But so, there's a lot of opinions, a lot of aspects of Elden Ring. And in the beginning, it was met with some slight criticism at the very beginning, but it smoothed itself out over, a period of a couple of months or what have you. But what is it about Elden Ring that sort of draws you in to make that something that just is that outstanding exclamation point?
It's just it's Dark Souls plus is really what it is. I really enjoyed Dark Souls. That formula, that game style is just right up my alley. The dark fantasy art and themes and story and whatever have you. That's just everything about that is in my playbook. And Elden Ring is just all of that taken to its logical extreme. And it does it really well, I think. Plus, this is the first Souls game I've been able to play multiplayer in because I own it on PC.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to experience From Software multiplayer for the first time in Elden Ring, and that's a real joy.
If there was something about, and I know we're talking about our top game that we played and enjoyed, but obviously with our kind of like our pets, so to speak, our favorites, right? we'd always like to change something. If there was something in Elden Ring that you would change, what would it be?
If there was something in Elden Ring I would change, I do think that I think it I think it meanders at times. It doesn't suffer from the open world sandbox problem as much as Skyrim does,
Mm-hmm.
where I get off the beaten path, and the moment I'm out the beaten path, I'm way off the beaten path, and then I get bored and never finish the main quest. Because Elden Ring still funnels you back into the main quest. It still has a story to tell that it wants you to play through it. It doesn't force you, but it eventually gets you there. Even so, I definitely spend more time than I should just faffing about killing octopuses on the beach for no reason. Which might be more of a me problem than the game. Um, but at the same time, is that even a criticism? Because that's usually grinding mobs is the least fun part about RPGs, right? Like
Yeah.
once you get to a certain point in Pokemon, you try to avoid grass and caves as much as possible. So if there's a game that you're encouraged to grind and level up in, that you like get lost grinding and leveling up in, I guess I can't really call that a fault at that point. And it's not the Skyrim problem where I do that enough and then get bored of the game because I'm tired of what I'm doing. Like I still come back and keep playing it.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? Like you talk about Skyrim in that way, and I can certainly understand the broader sentiment around Skyrim and how like broken that game really is. But I think, ultimately what makes something enjoyable is not necessarily how perfect it is, but it's in some ways it's almost in its imperfections. Do you find that games like kind of you favor games more that are on that closer to perfection side, or does it really matter to you?
I don't I don't know. The games that I really, really enjoy are all over the place, and they're usually very specific. Um, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly what it is that I enjoy about them.
Okay.
Like I'm the kind of person who like my favorite game for a long time was literally Croc 2, if you remember that
Oh
platformer.
yes.
Croc 2 is absolutely fantastic. It's like, okay, so this guy likes casual 3D platformers. He's into Crash Bandicoot, he's into Spyro. Yeah, I love all that shit. I also like Dark Souls. I am not the guy who's going to shy away from Dark Souls and get mad when I die 500 times. No, I'm just going to keep putting my head down and charging straight to that brick wall. So I honestly don't know what to tell you about the games that I like. I also play Warhammer for what it's worth, and I really enjoy JRPGs and like 4X games.
Yeah, it is kind of funny you say that because I also, and I know I'm kind of also now redirecting to me, but like I also have that same fabric, right? Like I enjoy a multitude of different types of games, and I often have a hard time, like even what I have a hard time figuring out is what am I in the mood for in that moment, right?
Mhm.
Because the amount of different types of games that I play is, Final Fantasy to, you know, um, NBA 2K 2022 to Elden Ring to, all the way to, Valfaris or back down to Symphony of the Night, right? Like it's freaking all over the place, man. I'm all over the map. And I often have a tremendous task to figure out when I sit down with which controller to pick up and what game to play.
Yeah.
So no,
Couple
I
that
hear
with
you.
I just don't have it's not even that I don't always have the time, but I spend my day job on the computer,
Sure.
and I spend a lot of time, I run computer networking my home lab at home, so I'm always doing work on the computer. So when it's time to pick a hobby, video games is actually just not always something I want to do, or at least not for an extended period of time. So it's nice to find games that I can pick up and really enjoy for a solid half hour to an hour and then put down again.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah. And you know what? You just like solved my conundrum, right? Like my conundrum is, what do I play? And oftentimes it's time boxed, right? It's like, oh, you know what? The kids aren't playing video games right now, so I have 1 hour to get into something. But like 1 hour in Elden Ring, in my opinion, is like, that's like you walk down the street and you do a few things and then you're done.
Yeah, that's actually true.
so
That's
yeah,
why I have not finished that game yet. And I know it's got New Game Plus and stuff because it's a From Software game. So like it'll literally take me a decade to get there.
You know how long it took me to actually complete Skyrim?
How long?
So I've been playing it since it came out and I still haven't completed it yet.
That's same for me, but with Fallout New Vegas. I have never played the Battle at the Dam.
Oh, really? Oh, you have to at some point, man. You have to complete that game. Is so awesome to finish. Like I actually played that through straight on. I even took vacation. Like when I played it when it first came out, and I took extra vacation to just like plow through that game. It was the best decision I ever made.
I have the problem where I start New Vegas and then I speed run to the Big Empty.
Wow.
And then nothing else is that good. Like the game is fantastic, but it definitely peaks at the Big Empty.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's but the game is just so fun to play, and but I agree. So, seeing that, Elden Ring is your top dog for 2022.
Can
What?
I have an honorable mention?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What else came out this year that I was really thoroughly impressed with, even though I'm actually really not the audience for this game? Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Say what?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Really?
It is the free-to-play Yu-Gi-Oh! Client that is Yu-Gi-Oh's answer to Arena. And every single complaint that people have had about Magic Arena does not exist in Master Duel.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
Their economy is super generous to the point that you can earn in-game currency and buy the battle pass with it.
I've always wanted to try Yu-Gi-Oh!
Go play Master Duel for a little bit. It's a lot of fun. I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. Last time I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like 2004. But I picked it up because, hey, I want to try this client, and the nostalgia trip is going to be fun for 5 minutes. And I just ended up being really, really impressed with the client. I haven't touched it in probably 3-4 months because I don't play much Yu-Gi-Oh! But I pick it up every now and again and just jam a few games.
I will have to put that on my list to check out. Do you know if it has like do they have like apps for like tablets and such, or is it just
on mobile? It's on mobile.
Oh, it is on mobile. All right.
Yes, it is.
More of the reason to check it out then. Which is kind of funny because the mobile category that we didn't cover in our top for the games that are subsequently for the Game Awards tomorrow. Now, for people who are listening to this, we're recording this on December 7th. Most of you will actually hear this the following week. But like mobile games, even though like I didn't really have any interest to kind of review and talk about the mobile game category all that much because didn't have a lot of experience with it. But I feel like the mobile industry is just becoming it's up and coming at the moment. It's been around for a long time, but I feel like we're starting to get a lot more, not just with some of these like, card games or some of these indie titles, but we're starting to see some major titles hit the mobile market in just this past like 18 months.
I think the mobile game industry kind of got hampered by they got hamstrung because they got sucked into. All right, I'm gonna stop saying prepositions over and over again. Blah, 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 ma. All right, here we go. The mobile game industry got themselves into a corner because they did the microtransaction thing. They leaned full hard into microtransactions. You buy the Canada coin and you rebuild Toronto. And that's kind of what all mobile games became, was free to play microtransaction garbage.
Sure.
And it stifled growth in that sector of the industry, I think. So I would love to see them get away from that to some degree. And with the level of processing power that phones have these days, I think it's more and more likely.
Yeah,
I have to say though, I got the mobile games I've played the most, and they've took many hours of my life, were Plants vs. Zombies.
Yes.
Angry Birds, and Zombie Farm. Have you ever played that? Okay. Oh, that and Cribbage. I played a lot of Cribbage on my phone for a long time. Okay.
You know what I like playing on mobile is like those pool games. Like I'm obsessed with playing, mobile pool. I don't know why. I mean, I guess
it's like the worst UI for it too.
But it's fun. I actually on my tablet. So I have my iPad, and then I have the pencil that I use for like, doing the, so that way I have like a precision like movement with the Q stick.
Oh, sure.
And so like that's been quite helpful. But like things like Arena, Pokemon, TCG Online,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Now that I'll have to add that to that. But like there was the Simpsons game, which was like Sims, but Simpsons. I forget the name.
I played that for 5 minutes. Yeah, that was the buy the Canada coin, rebuild Toronto kind of game.
I kind of got addicted to that one, and then I also picked up because back in the day in the 90s, like I was a huge fan of Roller Coaster Tycoon.
In the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show.
Is
DMCAS, I dare you.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, and so they have Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic on Apple devices.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and what's amazing and what I love about it is not only can I play it on the iPad, but the way that Apple has changed their application architecture, I can now play it on my MacBook or any of my Macs. You can run your iPad game apps directly on your desktop computer, which it's like, okay, so if I want to use mouse and keyboard with old school like Roller Coaster Tycoon, I'm like, hell yeah, sign me up.
Fantastic.
So those are those little wins of nostalgia that I enjoy. So I'm actually going to surprise you with my top 2022 release that I've played and enjoyed.
And what's that?
Well, first off, of all the games that I've talked about this year, since you've been a part of the podcast, what is the game that you have heard me talk about the most and boast about the most thus far?
Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn, those two probably.
Surprisingly enough,
or Final Fantasy.
It's neither of those. Earlier in the year, Joe challenged me to pick up Dark Souls.
Okay.
Because I never had played it before, but I've always heard a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. and I didn't enjoy it. So then he incurred.
What didn't you enjoy about it, out of curiosity?
I just felt like it was too slow for me. Like
The first one is very slow.
Yeah.
That is true.
It was so slow that I lost interest very quickly. And what I mean by very quickly, for I guess a Souls game, 3 hours is that's quick to drop from, right?
It's enough to see what kind of game it is. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I love how slow it is because it makes the atmosphere feel very heavy. It feels like you're really actually struggling against the world, which I enjoy.
Yeah, and I think if I would have played that game, let's just say 15 years ago, I probably would think differently, right? And I only say not 15 years in age, but 15 years in where I'm at in my stage of life. And so I think Dark Souls is not a game that kind of fits in my like world as a game that I can play and pick up, because oftentimes I'm playing in 1 to 2 hour spurts.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't get very far in a Dark Souls game in 1 to 2 hour spurts.
Exactly. And so to me, that then if I do that, playing that game, it might take me about a half century to finish.
Yeah, I get it.
So for me, I'm just like, yeah, okay. I mean, I like I like the game for what it is. I like the game for the composition of it, but it's just a game that, and from my perspective, it's way too dang slow. And it's linear, which doesn't lend me the capability to just kind of do certain things. That's where like, and this is not the game, but that's where like Cyberpunk, as many people will shoot down this game. I'm happy with what they've done to update the game. But here's something that is a I don't know, a thought that I'm sure many don't feel, but completing the game of Cyberpunk was really quick. It was like 6 or 7 hours, right? Which not bad, right? Like, but it's completing the main story arc. But I can tell you, I can go in and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go in and do like 5 or 6 either side quests or they're gigs, and many different things. But like I can easily pick off a bunch of side quests of the different variety that Cyberpunk offers in a 1 to 2 hour session and feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah. I get it.
But that's where my game of 2022 actually is very interesting, because I feel like it's a blend of both. Okay. And that is Elden Ring. You
did. You really liked it.
I really do.
I was going to suggest you try maybe Dark Souls 3 or maybe Elden Ring to kind of get that better feel. And you did it.
I did it.
You did it.
I once I got the PS5, the first game I bought was Elden Ring. That was the very first game that I bought. Elden Ring, well, 2 games, Deathloop and Elden Ring. And I'll tell you what, Elden Ring has actually made me enjoy that kind of game better. Like,
that's
more.
Fantastic.
And even though I haven't gotten super far, regardless of that, Elden Ring allows me to jump in and do those short spurts much better than the first Dark Souls game.
Yes, it does. I can play Elden Ring for 30 minutes and feel like I did something.
Right. And so that's where I think, even though like 2021 for me, it was, or actually 2020, but also 2021, Horizon Zero Dawn still is going down to be my favorite game of all time thus far, right? One of my favorite, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But Elden Ring is really gaining traction on that for me because it's one of those that I know I'm going to get a lot of playability out of that game. I'm going to get a lot out of that game, and I can play it in short spurts and still feel like I am doing something.
That's great.
And it's very interesting, like how that happens. Like, I'm not gonna dwell on this too much, but like Callisto Protocol, which had just come out, right, a couple days ago.
Did we talk about your experience with that game yet? I can't remember if we did that.
We haven't.
Okay, we should put a pin in that. We should talk about that.
We should talk about that. But like I was actually way more excited about Callisto Protocol than I was Elden Ring because I was like, From Software, I know how their games play, or I understand how their games play. I'm like, man, I just don't know if I'm going to get into it. But again, my first 8 hours of play of Elden Ring, I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm even more hooked than I was with Skyrim. And Skyrim, I have been playing for a very, very long time.
That's what I've been trying to say about that game. Don't look at it like a Dark Souls game. Look at it like Skyrim, but better. If From Software was in charge of making Skyrim, that's what you'd get with Elden Ring. And it just is the best of both worlds.
I'd agree. I totally agree. And I was skeptical. I mean, I was, and Joe is not here, but Joe would be like, yes. But, you know, at the same time, like, or he would tell me, I told you so.
Yeah.
But yeah, hands down, 2022, Elden Ring. I think tomorrow, obviously, the audience will know this before they listen to this episode. But I do think I didn't choose it for the game of the year, but as I've played it more and more, as we've progressed, I think hands down, it's going to be game of the year.
Absolutely. And once again, I'll mention that another thing that I really, really, really like about Elden Ring is that because it's got that mass appeal, that barrier to entry is just low enough that it's got mass appeal, and the type of genre it's trying to be has got more mass appeal than what Dark Souls was. It brings in so many new people to this style of game, and you're having a lot of new people for the first time picking up original Dark Souls and learning to enjoy it. And they never would have picked it up before, or maybe even didn't even hear of it. And that's really cool that you can get people to try those older games and keep them in the public eye. Like I said, it was really fun because I'm subscribed to all the Dark Souls subreddits, and it was really fun when Elden Ring came out to watch all the influx of new people going, how do you kill this guy? The goat demon fight is so unfair. How do you deal with the dogs? The stuff that people are, and all the veterans are just chuckling at the new guys experiencing what they experienced 20 years ago. Oh, that's beautiful. What is that?
So what I'm holding up for the audience that is listening to us and not seeing us is Elden Ring is releasing a 3-part. So this is part 1, volume 1. Look how thick this thing is. And they're using so Future Press is putting this out, but this is 500 pages. Putting out a 3-part game strategy guide collection on this game.
That's pretty cool.
This is volume 1 at 500 pages. And you get like this gigantic map and so whatsoever. And so like this first one is really focused on a lot of the locales and the different people, the NPCs and everything else that goes with it. Then the volume 2 is supposed to supposed to break down builds and strategies. So it's going to be like a series of 3 books of over 1,500 pages of strategy for Elden Ring. There is no game that I've been collecting like collector game guides for quite a while. There's been no game that has had a strategy guide that has spanned 3 books.
That's like a Leo Tolstoy novel of Elden Ring strategy.
Exactly. It's nuts, but it's also exciting and awesome all at the same time. Because
that's really cool. Good for them.
Think about it, right? Like 1,500 pages of strategy for a game. Who does that?
The internet. I wonder how much of that is just scraped from Reddit, like honestly.
But like, the Skyrim's been around forever, right? And the special collector's edition, which covers everything that they've released for Skyrim, right? This book is only about 1,080 pages, right?
And Skyrim it's not that deep, really. It's just got a lot of things going on.
And there's a lot of items, right? Like there's a lot of things. There's a lot of different areas. But so I guess where I'm getting at is Skyrim for me was the book of in-depth games that From Software had to live up to for me to say Elden Ring, I think, takes the place of Skyrim.
Yeah, absolutely. You can sunset Skyrim now. And I say that only slightly ironically. I've definitely gotten to the point, and I know I'm not the only one, where my experience with Skyrim in today's day and age is, I haven't played this in like a year or 2 years even. I'm going to dust it off. And what dust it off means is I pull it up, spend 6 hours adding 300 mods to it, and then don't play a minute of the game and then uninstall it.
You know what though? That is the single most reason why I bought Skyrim on the Xbox, because the Xbox has the ability to download mods.
Yeah. It's a limited ability, but it's there.
It's there, but yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, to me, playing Skyrim with the mods that are out there is probably the most entertaining part of playing Skyrim at this point.
All right, I have to ask.
Yeah.
Are you a Randy Savage dragon, or are you a Thomas the Tank Engine dragon kind of guy?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm toot toot motherfucker all the way.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage. He's coming here as a dragon to blow your face off. Oh, man. Yeah, so 2022, my top game that I've enjoyed and I will continue to enjoy, hands down, absolutely, Elden Ring. So moving on, what is your favorite game that you played this year that did not release in 2022? And when did it release?
Okay. So I have been, as part of the starting of my Twitch channel, I have been on the kick of I'm going to go through these games that I haven't played in a long time and I may have never been able to finish for one reason or another, and I'm going to play them start to finish. That's my gimmick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that with Pokemon Yellow this year, where I played a crap ton of Pokemon Yellow, but I've never actually like gotten all the way through to the Elite Four. And part of that is because the game is people who have played Gen 1 know that Gen 1 was kind of broken and the UI is kind of a hassle to play through, especially if like I was, you were at the age where your first Pokemon game was Gen 3 or maybe even Gen 4. You know,
Oh,
I started with Pokemon Sapphire, so I'm used to those Gen 3 mechanics.
okay, hold on a second. Real quick. Not to just derail you, but can you quickly explain for the folks out here who don't know, like Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, like what does that actually
Oh,
mean?
so the Pokemon games are colloquially by the fans referred to as different generations. Gen 1 being the Kanto games, blue and yellow. I'm sorry, not blue and yellow, blue and red, and eventually yellow.
Okay.
Gen 2 being the Johto games. We got silver, gold, and crystal. Gen 3 being ruby, sapphire, platinum, emerald, ruby, sapphire, emerald, and it just goes through, and then you get to the DS era, then you get to the 3DS era. I think we're on Gen 8 or 9 now with Scarlet and Violet just releasing, and I can't remember for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a way that people delineate the Pokemon games.
Got it.
And
Okay.
it partially comes from the fact that there multiple versions of the game are sold at the same time.
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry. Continue.
Anyway, point being, I finally made it through Victory Road, and I'm at the point now where I'm challenging the Elite Four. And I'm like, man, this game is absolutely fantastic, but it's just such, for whatever reason, an unenjoyable slog through so much of it. And then I pulled up Leaf Green again, which was the Gen 3 remaster of Pokemon Red and Blue. And I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking love this game. And so now I'm running through. Actually, I think I'm doing Fire Red this time because I've only ever played Leaf Green. That was the one I owned for Game Boy. So that's what I've been really loving, was the Gen 3 remaster of the Gen 1 Pokemon games.
And when did that come out?
That was 2000. Ooh, Fire Red release date 2004.
Okay. So
Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green released.
So some time ago.
Yes. Absolutely fantastic. If you've never played a Pokemon game before, you should play either Fire Red or Leaf Green. And then you should also play you should just straight up play Pokemon Emerald. That was the best Gen 3 Pokemon game. I don't think they've made a game as good as Pokemon Emerald since.
Really?
Yeah, honestly. I never played Gen 5 or 6. I was kind of off the wagon for a while by then. I've heard a lot of people really liked Gen 6, which was Pokemon X and Y. A lot of people really liked those. But for me, Pokemon Emerald is just the cream of the crop for Pokemon games. So play either Fire Red or Leaf Green so you can get the original Kanto experience, but so much better. And then play Pokemon Emerald, which is just the best Pokemon game.
So I mean, like the first one you mentioned it, like the first one I played is Pokemon XY. That was the first time I ever got introduced to any of those games. But then most recently I was playing, because my son plays it, is Pokemon Sword and Shield, and those are fun.
They're fine. Sword and Shield, probably the worst of all the Pokemon games.
Really?
Honestly. Oh yeah, they're awful. If you enjoyed those games, fantastic. But that should give you expectations for how much better they get if you play Gen 3.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like from my perspective, that's my experience. That's the extent of my experience of the game. So now I have to were those 3DS or three
Game Boy Advance?
GBA. Okay. All right. I will have to find a way to play that on the Odin.
I can help you facilitate that.
I'm sure I have it somewhere on the Odin, so I'll have to try it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing Fire Red and super loving life.
How about do you have any? I'll have to check it out for sure, because I'm just like, if you're saying it's better than Sword and Shield, and I enjoyed that, then I'm absolutely missing something for sure.
Yeah. You
Um,
can have fun playing Sword and Shield. They're fine, but definitely either that or Sun and Moon are the worst Pokemon games in my opinion.
okay. What about, do you have an honorable mention?
Um, I was gonna say runner up maybe Shining Force 2,
Ooh,
which
yeah.
I am playing pretty much for the first time. The original Shining Force was a favorite of mine. Shining Force 2, in spirit of start to finish, I have picked up and am running through. And it's, again, it's the same thing where it's just so much more polished.
Yeah.
It's so much more fluid. I miss this. It doesn't quite have the same story atmosphere that the first one did, which I really miss from the first Shining Force game. But it's significantly smoother of gameplay experience.
After the holidays, I really need to figure out a way to convince you and Megan to come out and visit and be able to play the Shining Force game that's on my arcade system.
Yes, absolutely.
I think, I mean, I don't know. I really enjoy it. I feel like it would be something fun because it's like, it's also, it can be multiplayer at the same time, which I think,
Oh,
yeah.
how do they pull that off?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet because
Oh,
I'm only playing as myself.
all
Like,
right, all right, all right.
all right, all right, all right.
Right,
Um,
all right.
but yeah, like I mean, one of these days I'll have to get you guys out here and we can check that out. But Shining Force is by far one of those I think, not to pull a pun, but has always been outshined by Final Fantasy.
Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
Because Final Fantasy was always the on the system that everybody had, where Shining Force was like it was on the Genesis and the 3DO back in the day, right? I think it was on 3DO. I know it was on Genesis, but I think it was also on 3DO. But like the systems that nobody had, the niche systems that most people didn't have, right? Because everybody bought Nintendo back in the day. So like Shining Force was outshined by, things like Final Fantasy as well as like Legend of Zelda. But it was always my favorite Genesis game to play when it came out. Like Shining Force, I had that cart and I wore that cartridge out.
It feels so much more complete and fleshed out than a lot of other Sega games do at
Yeah.
that time, I think. Because you look at like what are the other great Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Vector Man, maybe.
Vector Man, yeah. Vector Man was awesome. Like
Vector
that,
Man's fun, but like
yeah.
none of those quite have the same staying power. Like other Sonic, okay, Sonic is a whole different story. That's like a
It's Mario.
monolith of
Yeah.
it's their Mario.
Yeah.
But the games like those first couple of games, I don't know quite have the same depth and staying power to them that Shining Force did.
Yeah, I think wasn't Kid Icarus was Kid Icarus a Sega game, wasn't it?
Ooh, maybe.
I mean, that's one that carries some weight too. Like Kid Icarus was,
Nope,
no,
that was Nintendo.
sorry, Kid Chameleon. Kid
Oh
Chameleon.
yeah, Kid Chameleon was Sega. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that was an amazing platformer. Like you hands down, that was a game that I think anybody had a Genesis, you play that game. Same thing with Vector Man, Comic Zone, which was another one.
I like Comic Zone. I think I'm bad at it. I don't know how to get past like the second world. I like run out of life just punching walls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think I know how to play that game correctly.
Uh,
You might have to show me what I'm doing wrong.
oh, I've beat that game multiple times. I love that game. Toe
It's
Jam and
cool.
Earl. That's another one that a lot of people, like lifers of Genesis have played that game. Streets of Rage started out as Genesis only, right? and then Shinobi.
Oh, sure.
So those were some of the names, in my opinion. Shining in the Darkness. That was another one.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Shining in the Darkness was like their RPG. That was a kind of akin to and it was part of the Shining Force like
Extended
Shining
universe.
Yeah, so Shining in the Darkness was actually the original before Shining Force came out.
You know what this looks like? It looks like was it I can't remember. I think it was called Labyrinth maybe, but it was like it was either an early Bungie game or an early Bethesda game. I can't remember which, but it was like this first person dungeon crawler.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
And that was the true beginning of Shining Force before Shining Force became what it is. So Shining in the Darkness was the original. That was like OG.
I also want to try Fire Emblem. I've heard a lot of good things about that.
Fire Emblem is really good. It's a tired IP in my opinion today, but like if you play some of the original Fire Emblems, they are fantastic. They are
the shtick with that game is it's permadeath, right? Of the characters. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy a good permadeath mechanic. It's one of the things I liked about Wildermyth, that indie game I picked up this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. So my favorite game that I've either replayed or played that did not release in 2022. And I have to tell you, this game was actually I've owned it for a very long time, but didn't get around to playing it. And I only played it because of Cyberpunk 2077. Could you guess potentially what that game could be?
Only played it because of Cyberpunk 2077?
Yeah.
Was there like a video game implementation of the tabletop game?
No.
Of Cyberpunk?
Nope.
Because that would be pretty sick.
That would be sick. But no, unfortunately not.
Gage, if you're listening, still waiting on that. Still waiting on that campaign, buddy.
So, what really started the Cyberpunk games, right? The augmentation games. A little old game that came out by Eidos back in 2000, 1999, something like that.
You've piqued my interest with Eidos.
And that was Deus Ex.
Oh, that was Eidos. Was it?
Yeah.
Ah.
And so in the early days, Deus Ex was a great game. It was great for what it was. It was a game that had the most depth in play and just story alone. And I played it when it came out. I played it I think it was Eidos. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it is. Eidos Montreal. And when I played that on the PC back in the day in 2000, I was pretty close. 2000. I was floored. That was by far one of the best games I ever played at that time. Depth between beyond bounds. Now they've had many releases since then, and some of them weren't so good. One of them's shutting down, so there's a Deus Ex Go version like on mobile that's shutting down later this year.
The flurry of those games is silly to me.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go makes sense. Harry Potter Go does not.
Yeah, no. Same thing with like Tomb Raider Go.
There was a Tomb Raider Go?
There is, yeah. And it's shutting down this year too. There's a couple of them. But so in 2003, I actually bought a new video card for my computer so a couple years after Deus Ex came out. I can't remember the name of the card, so don't. It's been way too long. But when you bought like an Nvidia card, you got Deus Ex Invisible War, and I played that game, and I was like, yes, that game is freaking awesome. It was like a huge upgrade from Deus Ex to only 3 years apart too, from Deus Ex to Deus Ex Invisible War. It was a really good game, in my opinion, anyways. And then 2011, Human Revolution came out on the PS3.
I think that's the one that I always hear about.
And
context, I've never played a Deus Ex game.
It was much anticipated because it was, 8 years after the last, game installment, which was Invisible War in 2003. And it was an okay game, but in my opinion, they really detracted from its original makeup, right? And that's sneak, items, tactical solutions to solve how to get around and do this and do that and be really.
It was a stealth game.
It was a stealth tactical RPG.
Very cool.
But Human Revolution detracted from that and made it more actiony. And in my opinion, it was a piece of turd. I didn't like it. So I was turned off. Excuse me. I was turned off by Deus Ex at that point. I did buy the next installment, which was The Fall, which Deus Ex The Fall was kind of they tried to fusion some things in there that were just not that great. It was built on Unity, so it was kind of like a mobile game, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? It was being a mobile game, but trying not to be a mobile game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting.
It was okay, and I was like, meh, but it didn't really scratch the itch because it was still very actiony. PS4 came out. I bought the PS4, and this game called Deus Ex Mankind Divided came out. I bought it. I never installed it, never played it. I was like, I wanted to give it a try, but then I got involved with other games. So this year is the first time that I sort of installed Mankind Divided. And what I can tell you is, holy shit, I should have played this thing 5 years ago.
Was it a good return to form?
It was return to form. And it is one of those games that I'm like, this is what Cyberpunk should, could, and would have been if they would have actually done it right. Now, it's not without its flaws, right? It's not without its shortcomings and the fact that I think the cutscenes that they did, again, I get what they were trying to do there. They could have done without them. I don't need them. But the gameplay itself, being a part of the game and playing the game and doing all of it, was like original Deus Ex turned up a notch. And on top of it, they really brought the nostalgia factor back into the game.
That's fantastic.
I would highly recommend, if you are interested in those types of games like Cyberpunk and were thinking that it was disappointing, playing Deus Ex Mankind Divided is like kind of like an upgrade from the original Deus Ex that it needed.
Okay. I'll check it out. I'll put it on my wish list, and I'll start to finish that game.
I don't recommend any of the other ones except for if you want to play like the original Deus Ex, you can get it on GOG. Same thing with Invisible War. Those two are available on GOG. Skip the rest and then play Mankind Divided.
Okay. I will.
That's what I would recommend. I don't really have a honorable mention, I don't think. Actually, I do. Now that I think about it, My honorable mention would be Deathloop. I think it's hugely underrated. A lot of people poo-poo that game, but that game's fun. It's it if you kind of just understand what it's trying to do, it's fun.
It got some really big accolades because it came out last year, right?
Yeah, it came out last year.
Yeah. Did it get Game of the Year? I can't remember for sure.
No, it got nominated, but it didn't get it.
Okay. But it was up there though. It was one
Yeah,
of the
it
better games of last year.
absolutely, and I enjoyed it. But I'm not that far in it because I got kind of distracted with Elden Ring. Shocker. All right, so to wrap us up, in not so many long words, what are you excited or looking forward to in 2023 in the gaming industry?
Couple of things. The biggest one probably is and I don't know if this actually has a confirmed release date yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming out next year. Another Warhammer game coming
Ooh.
out called Rogue Trader.
I hadn't heard
Warhammer
this one.
40K Rogue Trader.
Do you know much about it? Like, what is it supposed to be like?
It's a kind of a wide spanning um like turn-based strategy game.
Okay.
It's not, I wouldn't call it a JRPG, but that style of game is kind of what it's trying to be. Um, and it's telling stories about, so the rogue traders in Warhammer are, okay, hold on. I have to give you some Warhammer lore dump context here. The Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40K is all humanity on all the different planets united under one fascist symbol, right? Um, there are no good guys in Warhammer. And part of the rules of the Imperium of Man is all Xenos, that is non-human alien races, and anything to do with chaos, like the demon spawn or the traitor marines who live in the warp. Uh, it's all bad. You kill aliens on sight, you kill demons on sight. This is how we keep mankind together through endless war. There is no war. What was it? Can't have peace without war. What's the Orwell? It's the Orwell thing. War is peace, freedom is slavery. But anyway, rogue traders in Warhammer 40K are government sanctioned black market traders that are allowed to go out and communicate with the Xenos races to bring technology back for the Empire. So that's what the game is about, is the group of rogue traders who are, expanding out into the galaxy and meeting the alien races. And I don't know what the actual driving story of this game is going to be, but I'm down for it. It's Warhammer. It's turn-based strategic combat, and it's an adventure story. I think it ticks all the boxes for me.
So wait a minute though. I was like looking on Steam. Is this a? Oh, it says coming soon. I see. Okay, so
It doesn't have an official date yet.
Alpha starts 7/12. So it's alpha started on July 12th. So it's probably going to be a while.
Oh, it might not even come out next year.
No, I mean, well, it might. It might. It could be if
holiday next year, probably.
Yeah, maybe. So that's a game that you're thinking about. What about the industry itself? What are some things that, or is there anything in the industry that
in the industry itself? God, I don't know. What I want to see in the industry is more things like GOG, whose purpose is to archive these older games for us to go back and play. Like, I want more better legal ways to acquire Pokemon Yellow. It's not going to happen, not for a long time. But if anything was to get me excited for a change in the industry, that's what it would be.
Gotcha.
is for the corporations to get on board with the love of old
Yeah,
games.
yeah, that was one of the things. Like, so I actually was talking with my wife last night, and one of our kids, like, I was like, oh, you know what? He would really enjoy playing like Sims or SimCity, or not Sims, sorry, SimCity, like OG SimCity, right? Like whether it's like SimCity 3000 or SimCity for SimCity 4 Deluxe or whatever, like something that, from the early ages of SimCity. And I was like, yeah, those are on GOG. And then I searched another game of that same genre, Rise of Nations. I don't know if you ever heard of it or played it, but it
We
was
talked about it a little bit before. I haven't played
okay.
it.
Okay.
You said
So
it's the inspiration for games like Civ.
yeah, so like Rise of Nations, but was a Microsoft game. And I was disappointed because I was like, I can't get it on GOG and you can't really find it anywhere else. And I'm like, that is, and I guess I'm jumping ahead and kind of dovetailing off of your answer, but I agree. Like, those are some things that I absolutely feel like game preservation of a lot of these classic games that we just can't play anymore because, you know, operating systems and software has evolved
Yep.
past them.
That,
And
and you
yeah,
have issues like I've run into with like two of my favorite games from when I was a kid are Croc 2 and Lego Rock Raiders.
yeah.
I had just PC discs for like Windows XP for both of those. And not only has technology evolved beyond the point where you can run those games without an emulator, but there's no rights holders. You
Yeah.
know, well, who made Croc 2? I think it was Fox Studios. Do they even have a video game division anymore? I think it's collapsed.
Yeah, and usually those like kind of get sold and kind of get put in holdings. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's these games that are just fantastic classics that the only way to play them is to pirate them. And
Well,
that's a shame.
and that's why we had a lot of issues for years of being able to see a re-release of some of the um it wasn't Fox Studios part of the Simpsons, like the Simpsons game too. The
Oh
reason
yeah, did they make Hit and Run?
I don't know if they made Hit and Run, but I think they were the licensing arm for that, right?
Oh,
And
yeah, they would be because it's Fox.
right. And so because of the fact that the a lot of the contract disputes within the Simpsons IP, we wouldn't see some of those games. I mean, I was impressed that Arcade One Up was able to get the Simpsons IP to release the Simpsons arcade cabinet, because it's very rare today to be able to see the Simpsons games like come back out because of how Fox Digital Entertainment, like back then, like, and all the like the ownership, or no, Fox, I think it was Fox Game Studios, I think is what it originally was. I can't remember, but anyways,
Digital Entertainment sounds right though.
My point is to your point is the fact that these games get stuck in licensing hell.
Yeah. I didn't even think about licensed games like The Simpsons, for example. Yeah, those are a prime example of games that not only is the Fox Game Studio collapsed, but the existence of it being sold on the market predicates on the ability to renegotiate an IP license, and that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and that is the one of the things that I'm thinking, I often think about, right, is there an opportunity to oh no, it was Konami. Konami is one.
Konami made Hit and Run?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, not Hit and Run. Sorry, the original Simpsons game, and then Hit and Run Simpsons. I believe that was that Radical Entertainment. Radical Entertainment, which was a subsidiary, if I'm not mistaken, of Activision. Yes, yeah, it was. So, and they folded. They're gone. They're gonzo. And so they were the original license holder of that. And so when we start talking about these licensed games from these different IPs, everything gets stuck in hell, right? And I almost feel like, how property gets considered a national landmark, right?
Yep.
I feel like there has to be some, and I imagine it would have to kind of err on the side of like some sort of type of moratorium of licensing. But at some point, couldn't an agency kind of step in and say, for the preservation of history and gaming, can't we like designate a game to be like a historical landmark that somebody just takes ownership of it and then is able to release it and provide dividends to shareholders who may have or interested parties who have once owned this IP? Like, couldn't we do that?
Have you seen the Fan remake?
There's
there's a guy in his basement basically reconstructing the Simpsons hit and run.
Oh yeah.
Quote, not legitimately, obviously, doesn't have any rights to any of the IP, but nobody's shut him down so far, and it looks really good.
Huh. No, I haven't.
I'll post a link to one of the videos I found
in
Discord.
I'll have to check it out.
Whoop.
But there should be an agency like that, right? Like that, like, you know what I mean?
The problem lies in the copyright laws in America. Like, you shouldn't be able to hold on to a copyright longer than the lifetime of a person.
Well, but
that's ridiculous.
But copyright law, so copyright law is 7 years. It's 7 years, and then you have to renew it. So whoever owns the copyright has to renew it actively, right? So, but there has to be some sort of quote unquote, like for instance,
as a general rule for works created after January 1st, 1978, copyright protection lasts for the lifetime of the author plus an additional 70 years.
Technically, when you talk about distributive medium, so copyright from a property perspective versus a medium are different, right?
Okay.
So film, right? The reason why I recently, me and my counterparts in the company that we run for film, why were we able to re-release our film is when it comes to medium, the types of medium from I mean, it gets a little weird because you have copyright of the intellectual property, which lasts a lifetime, right? But then you have the medium that is generated off of that only has a certain amount of time. That's why like things like streaming services can only stream a particular like TV series for a certain period of time because they only get rights to it from a particular time frame.
The whole thing is just a quagmire of legal mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
I totally understand that creators deserve to profit off their work. But at the same time, first of all, the only one profiting off of these works is corporations, and fuck those guys. But second of all, sometimes the art, and oftentimes the art, is more important to the culture than the profits are to the creator.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, so like museums, right? Like museums dedicated to the gaming industry, right? They don't ask for rights from Nintendo or Sega or whatever to, cement their historical works within a museum. They're honored to do that, right? So why can't there be a way that we preserve video games in an honorable way and in a profitable way for everyone to be able to not only enjoy but to profit off of? I don't really care. Like, I'll pay money. I'll pay legitimate money to play Hit and Run and buy it and play it somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
Because I agree the people who own the rights to it should be able to gain and profit from it. And I'm okay with that because that's a thing that we do, that we we pay for something and what have you. It's like, I think about it this way, like the NFL, and this is a very off topic, off cue thing. And I'm going to kind of expose myself briefly here, but I think about it this way. Like, I watch the NFL. My favorite team is not my local team, but it's within my region. And when it's in my region, I'm subject to blackout, meaning it can't be streamed online because it's part of blackout. But the fact is, I still can't watch it in my local network because it's not my team is not local, but it's still in my blackout area, right?
It's so silly.
It's stupid.
Like, you could go buy tickets to that game and physically go there, but you can't watch it on TV. That's illegal.
It's messed up, right? And so I have to then pirate the NFL game that I want to watch for my team because that's the only way I can watch it. I can't pay NFL Plus to watch the game because I'm subject to blackout rules. Right? So I can pay for NFL Plus, but not watch the team I want to watch. But I can't watch the team I want to watch in my area because they have national contracts with other teams to play those particular games. And it's not my local team in my local area. It's not the team that's in my local area. So it's like, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And I'm basically forced to say, go pirate it. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And we talk about this whole thing of capitalism and being able to, people to get paid. Like, I almost want to tell the NFL, it's like, give me an option to pay just to watch my team. That's it. That's all I want. I want to watch every single game.
I'm trying to give you my money and you won't take it from me.
Exactly. And I think that's another problem with the gaming industry, right? Everybody talks about pirating video games, but sometimes pirating video games is almost a necessity for games that you want to play that are just not available anywhere.
Well, and think about, like, not even just from like an experience perspective, but like a cultural and educational perspective. Imagine trying to educate the next generation of game developers who have no legal way of playing like Sonic the Hedgehog or Super Mario Brothers. Like, they need these classic examples of fantastic games through history to be able to learn from.
Yeah.
And they're just not there.
So to kind of just like kind of cap this off and I'm not stealing your answer at the end, but at the same time I'm putting it out there because I think one of the biggest things that I believe our industry suffers from, this gaming industry that we talk about all the time, is the fact that we're not able to just go out and play the game that we once played unless somebody says that a license allows us to do that. What I would like to see is an industry that thinks about preservation and historical landmarks in this gaming industry that really pave an important corner or perspective on what, the evolution of games and where we are today, of the power of storytelling, the power of using sound and graphical interfaces to create wonderful experiences. Again, going back to the whole topic and rewinding through the whole thing that we just talked about games that we've played and enjoyed that came out in 2022, games that didn't come out in 2022, and where we are today, what do we want to see in 2023, is can we figure out a way to both enjoy, experience, and see the past, present, and future be representative within the gaming industry and accessible as much as possible. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know how they would do it, but they need to.
It's time. It's time. It's 2023, right? Nintendo, NES. So that wave of new generation of gaming came out in 1985 with the NES. Pretty soon, we're going to be 40 years past that. We got to figure it out. We have to.
We as a society have decided that it is critical to the development of the newer generations to record and pass down knowledge and experiences from the older to the younger. That is why libraries exist.
Yeah.
And that's why that's another main boon of the internet. It's not what it was originally technically designed for, but that's what it's turned into.
Yep.
That to some degree that exists for movies. You can pretty much find most movies in the library now. But books are fantastic. They're in the library. Movies are in the library. Very few video games in libraries.
Yep.
They exist, and in some areas that maybe have a giant library may have a lot of them, but they're rare. And they're certainly not like, preserved copies of Donkey Kong 64.
Mm-hmm.
They're not something that you can just hand out to people. There's no equivalent of the ebook as a video game where you can just lease out a digital copy of this to someone who wants to play it for a couple weeks.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying it would be an easy thing to do, but I almost feel that at this point, it has to be for the gaming industry to, I think, evolve and devolve into something that is forever profitable and sustainable. And we talked about Magic previously, right? About sustainability of IPs. Without access to certain things, you can't. It's really hard to make a business case to develop something new. And so what happens is we run into this circle, and we've seen in the last few years. And I really think this is a true fact of where we are. And it's a product of not having preservation of these games, as we see so many remakes, rehashes, rewinds, remakes, what have you, because those are the ones that have, been considered quote unquote financial successes. But the problem is those financial successes are all based upon IPs that have had popularity versus numbers. And those numbers, although are important, are numbers from a console and a gaming area that was underserved at that time. And that's the part of it that is just like, yes, you can have an economics degree in saying that The Last of Us 3 is going to sell better than, say, Shining Force 5. But until you actually go out there and say, I'm going to make Shining Force 5 for nostalgia reasons, you're not going to know until that happens, right? And that's the part of it that I think is the most disappointing part of it.
Some of that just has to do with how expensive these projects are. It's easy to experiment if you're writing a book because it costs you pennies to do so. But when games cost $65 million to make, like, that's why you don't see Shining Force 5. Like,
but you can make, so, okay. But with that said, is you can make, an independent studio can take Shining Force 5 and take a blueprint of what they made for, say, like a game like Valfaris or some of these other indie games and see how that goes, right?
Yeah, you're right. But then, then that comes down to the main point of this conversation is that's predicated on there being examples to learn from.
Exactly. And so that's where I'm just like, I really want to see this industry really kind of, they have taken that 2D experience that we experienced in nostalgia, like back in the day of the games and all that, and it's embraced and it's shattered a lot of independent indie game records because of it, right? So now take those IPs that we all grew up with, like Shining Force that you mentioned, right?
Yep.
And let's bring that back out in the market. Look, if it bombs, what are you going to do? You're not going to lose millions.
No, what does it hurt just being available?
Right. That's the point.
I don't think Steam doesn't charge rental space. They just take a little off the sale, right?
Right. So that's where I'm like, it's not a lot to take a stretch to say, let's make this available and see how it goes. And if it hits, well, shit, then you have numbers to say, maybe we should try and, remaster a Shining Force. And then if we remaster it and that hits, it's like, okay, well, maybe we make a new one, right?
Especially in the age of big data, right?
Right.
Like if Facebook takes a data poll, because they have data on literally everything, and they see, in our theoretical world where we have Shining Force on sale for 99 cents as a ROM for whatever platform, and 65 million people bought it because they love this game. Well, you know what that tells us? That tells us people want a Shining Force game. It's just free real estate.
Thanks for listening to our most recent episode of Uneducated Gamers. You can go to Galaxy Game TV to post comments on each of our episodes, or if you have a question or a topic you would like us to include in an episode, feel free to leave a comment. Until next week, we bid you farewell.